The Death Seed Plague killed more people than the Galactic Civil War and the Great Hyperspace Disaster combined, and in truth, that pandemic wasn't even that unique. The galaxy, from the western reaches of the Outer Rim to the inner core worlds like Tython, has been stricken by horrible ailments and diseases for millennia. And what's worse, once a disease had proven its ability to be transmitted from humanoid species like the Quarren to another like the Chiss, the likelihood of an inter-system threat grew exponentially. But to prevent the spread of pandemics that could kill billions of sentients in just months, the early Galactic Republic created one powerful safeguard against infectious diseases. What was it, and how did it work? We'll get these answers and more in today's underrated moment. Do you know how many innocent souls have been lost to horrifying pandemics through the years? As we mentioned earlier, the Death Seed very nearly wiped out all of life in the galaxy, and it was just one of the many outbreaks that enveloped Republic space. The Dark Plague, the Kandorian Plague, the Rakghoul Plague. The list of terrifying ailments goes on and on with almost no end. But time and time again, the Republic, thanks in large part to the centralized efforts of the Department of Health, managed to endure. In most cases, by the time a pandemic had made its way off a single planet, it still had a long way to go before it could actually be considered a galaxy-wide threat. With hundreds of thousands of species in the galaxy and so many star systems, a deadly virus or parasite would need to accomplish the rare feat of cross-species transmission in order to trigger the alarms of the Department of Health. It's for that reason that many tragic, contagious diseases, like the Grey Death that only seemed to be caught by the Yavetha, were never allotted more Republic funding in order to research cures. The Republic and the Empire that followed it spent most of its time studying the potential of diseases that could jump from species to species, even in later years under Palpatine's rule, which was strange considering his typical indifference towards the life and death of non-humans. But before these diseases had ever had a chance to spread, there was one piece of technology that was stored at the thresholds of every merchant ship, spaceport, and official government vessel. These were special infectious disease diagnostic sensors, which, much like a metal detector, would set off an alarm whenever an infected passenger walked through them. Manufactured by the likes of biotech industries and Schwab Amalgamated Pharmaceuticals Company, the sensors weren't too dissimilar to the handheld models that many Imperial medics carried. The simple inclusion of these scans was responsible for reducing the outbreak of pandemics to a nearly infinitesimally small rate. In fact, one of the only times the machines failed was during Leia Organa Solo's failed diplomatic mission to the Nam Chorio system. 10 years after the First Battle of Yavin, there she met with a disgruntled politician who was hoping to force the natives of his world to join the Republic. Without Leia's help, the diplomat, known as Seti Ashgad, would be forced to live out the rest of his days in relative exile. When boarding Leia's diplomatic ship, Ashgad and his companion known as Dizem managed to avoid triggering the meta-sensor alarms, even though Dizem was actually one of the beings responsible for the Great Death Seed pandemic centuries earlier. Although the equipment failed on that day, that in absolutely no way diminishes the fact that it has saved billions of lives through the years and has become a staple of interplanetary and intersystem trade and travel in the Republic.